What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. And you know what? This is going to be a really interesting film to watch for this box office weekend. We got The Flash coming up, but I think this one could actually end up becoming the bigger story when you're talking about Disney and you're talking about Pixar Studios. Pixar Studios, of course, used to be the granddaddy of them all. That was the big studio when it came to animation, for the last 20 years or so. If you wanted to see a big animated film, it was like Pixar was your go-to. That's what you went for when you're talking about The Incredibles, Finding Nemo, you talk about all the Toy Story films, all kinds of films that came out from that studio. It was huge. And now, after Lightyear, it's absolutely fallen on hard times. And you can see right now on Hollywood Reporter, it says Elemental steps into the ring as a major box office test for Pixar. The animation giant is set to release its first original non-franchise title in theaters since the pandemic began, a bellwether for the strength of its brand as a draw for moviegoers after the disappointment of Lightyear. Yeah, we remember Lightyear. Lightyear absolutely tanked. Absolutely shat the bed, 100%. You're talking about $200 million they spent on that thing, and they had a total box office take. What was it, about $212 million? That is absolutely losing a ton of money. So it's going to be interesting to watch what this thing does because everybody's going to be talking about it and buzzing about it if it falls flat on its face. Now, what is it expected to do opening weekend? Oof! Yeah, man. Pixar's Elemental is tracking to earn $35 million at the domestic box office this weekend. $35 million is not good. As it says, that would be the second worst domestic opening ever for the studio. Now, I already talked about this briefly. I'll go ahead and link that video above if you didn't see it. But I want to dig into the reasons why, because that's always the thing. The Pixar brand is damaged goods, and that's the thing. Disney is damaged goods as a whole company because they can't figure out, how do we make a movie? How do we make an entertaining film without smacking you across the face with a message every 5 seconds? Here comes another message. Here comes some more identity politics. Here comes another message. They just keep smacking you upside the head with it. You're getting tired of it and you're tuning out. You're not going to the theaters anymore to be subjected to this nonsense. Why? Why would you want to walk into a theater and have everybody preaching at you and telling you how wrong you are and making you feel bad about yourself? It's like, nah, I want to go to a movie to enjoy my life. I want to have some fun with my kids, especially with a kid's film. You don't want to get over there and get message. No, that's not what you go to movies for. You want to be entertained. That's the entire point. If you want to layer some sort of message in there, in the subtext, okay? Deep down in the subtext. 5 or 6 layers deep. You're not putting it right on the surface. That's what Disney's been doing lately, as we know. And, people are just tuning out. Oh, yeah, this isn't going to get any play at all. Okay, second worst domestic opening ever for the studio. Now, when you check on Rotten Tomatoes, they've actually piled up a few more reviews since the last time we looked at it. 78% isn't bad. 41 reviews. Let's see what this looked like. All right, and then you get to the top critics. Oh, well, not too many top critics have been reviewing this thing. Only 8. Only 8 are even checking it out. And, of those 8, only 4 give it a fresh. So you're talking about a 50-50 scale right there. But yeah, mostly people seem to be enjoying it. But nevertheless, it's not the critics. We always talk about it. This is just a word of mouth thing. Some moviegoers will look at it, some won't. And, if they look at it and they say, 78%, maybe I'll go check it out. But then you start to see articles like this. Yeah, newest Pixar movie slammed for racist allegory. So here we go. What did I say? Upside your head with a message. Another message getting shoved down your throat. And again, how many people are going to want to keep going to Disney films to keep having racism and allegories shoved in their faces constantly, time and time again? People are checking out. People are done with it. Disney doesn't seem to have figured that out yet. I think as this year progresses and they take all of these L's, because listen, they haven't had too many successes. You go back with Marvel, Ant-Man and the Wasp, that was a flop. You go to Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, Guardians is going to make some money, so they're going to be all right, but they're not making a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? And then you're going to be dealing with this film with this $200 million budget, and it's only going to make $35 million or somewhere in there opening weekend. At least that's what they're saying right now. We'll have to see how the box office plays itself out. But Disney is just spending tons and tons of money, and they're not getting anywhere near the return on their investment that they expected. You spend somewhere in the neighborhood of $200 to $250 million to make a film, along with all the marketing and the ads that you're putting out there. You gotta expect to make somewhere near the amount of $700, $800 to $900 million. You probably hope to cross $1 billion. And then of course, Dial of Destiny, that's going to be coming up. That's not looking so good either. Disney's going to have a long 2023, and they're going to be doing some soul searching at the end of the year. But let's go ahead and see what they're doing with this latest kids film about racism. Elemental seems to be Pixar's doomed to fail movie of 2023. It's already predicted to be a major box office flop, and it's in part thanks to Pixar's poor marketing and promotion of the movie. Since the premise of Elemental was first announced, fans complained of it being yet another movie following Pixar's copy and paste style of the last few years. Another anthropomorphic set of characters revolving around a story about overcoming prejudice, and many were quick to draw comparisons to Zootopia, messages, and the overall design of Element City and Zootopia's capital city. And then it talks about like Turning Red, seeing some success. I don't know where this thing saw success at because it didn't make any money in the theaters. I'm not sure what they're referring to. Pixar's other recent big film, Luca, completely flopped commercially. It seems as though Pixar has come to rest on its laurels and a tried true method of making movies versus doing anything truly innovative. That was the thing. Pixar was always coming out with something that was brand new. Feeling like, I've never seen any film like this before. This is awesome. Creative, super creative. Again, when you got rid of John Lasseter, fellas, I'm just saying, when you get rid of a guy like a John Lasseter that just had his finger on the pulse of entertainment, what was working for kids and families, you lost the plot. You completely lost the plot, and now they're just putting out generic, like they say, tried and true nonsense, okay? Resting on their laurels. This doesn't sound like, cutting edge entertainment that Pixar used to give us. This film has received almost no major promotion since its announcement. Yeah, I barely heard about this thing. The only reason I even knew about it is because I keep up with this stuff for the channel. You guys probably haven't heard of it either unless you're following other YouTubers talking about how this thing is about to flop. And it's released next week. In a poorly timed move, Pixar did attempt to promote the movie earlier this week, but quickly deleted their tweet within just a few hours. They revealed a set of in-universe movie posters with a different character representing a different existing Pixar movie. Yeah, I had not seen that at all. And again, this kind of stuff, it flew under the radar, number one, and then they already deleted the tweet. So yeah, this thing's just about to be a giant bust. Now check this out. This is some of the other marketing they did. They say they released a clip of a scene of the film showing the soil element Claude, who's presumably a younger character flirting with Ember and trying to get her to agree to go on a date with him. Many responses on Twitter pointed out that the joke of a young boy flirting with an older woman is tired and not funny in today's social climate. It really isn't. If you sit back and think about all of the pedophile topics that are just popping off all over the place, and now you got boys and older women, it's just like, I don't know about that, When people finally get rid of the kid has a crush on an adult trope, immediate is the day I find peace. Others were quick to draw attention to Ember's response to the come on. Rather than pointing out their age difference as the reason for turning him down, she simply says, elements don't mix. Many viewers took it as a metaphor for race, with the different elements effectively being different races of people, especially as many are calling the film a tribute to immigrant parents. Oh, wow. So again, here's the messages. They're pushing the messages. Oh, these are different elements. They all represent different races. And then, of course, you're going to have a water element dating a fire element. And then that's going to have, I mean, this is going to be really bad. Elementals may have Zootopia beat for the worst allegory for racism in fiction, tweeted this person. You creators got to stop creating race allegories where simply interacting with someone of the other race could be fatal. It's the cognitive dissonance, guys. It's the cognitive dissonance of Disney that they just don't see that, right? These allegories, right? Like this person says, it's like, oh, well, let's say this little water guy represents like a black dude and this fire person represents a white person. And, now the love is forbidden. I guess that's where they're going with it. But yeah, it's like, well, it could be fatal for these two to actually interact. So what if the message that people take away from this is, hey, you know what? As a black man, I shouldn't interact with a white person. Or as a white person, I shouldn't interact with a black person. You see how this stuff can just go completely off the rails when you're just so interested in just hammering across the message. And then all of a sudden people get the wrong message because you're completely making these bad allegories in regards to your film. Utterly hilarious. Yeah, and other people are saying, well, maybe they should have went with accessibility, given Ember's comment about the city not being made for fire people or whatever the case may be. This video is wild because not only does it show how bad this type of allegory for race, but it gives a much better premise for a movie about accessibility with the comment about how city infrastructure isn't designed with fire people in mind. I mean, again, people are going to find all kinds of different messages that they can fit and shove into this thing. I just find it hilarious that Pixar doesn't seem to learn their lesson when it comes to this stuff. Hey, why don't you just make an enjoyable film that's not layered with all kinds of messages and innuendos and allegories about different things? Obviously, some of that stuff is going to be permissible because it's a kid's film. And I think Pixar is on, like, maybe its last legs in terms of being a viable studio. Illumination is absolutely wiping the floor with animation right now. They just announced, or they're about to announce, another big film with Legend of Zelda, okay? And then that's just going to capture the world by storm. People are going to be talking about that. They're still talking about Mario. Hardly anybody is bringing up Pixar anymore. And this is what happens, Disney, when you start focusing in the wrong direction. Entertain people. You know, as silly as people say the Despicable Me franchise is and the Minions franchise is, it's a $1 billion franchise. Minions Part 2 almost made $1 billion, and it's because people are interested in his having a good time. You saw what happened with Mario. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is doing great. Again, Disney doesn't get it, and they never will get it because they're so deeply entrenched in their woke ideology. It's just hilarious. And as you can see, yeah, the film is competing with the already successful Super Mario Brothers, still in theaters, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Little Mermaid. It's going to be an uphill battle for Pixar. And don't forget The Flash is coming out. Families will be going to check that out as well. It's just, I don't think this film is going to do anything. It might do, I'm wondering if it's going to do less than Lightyear. You guys let me know. Do you think this film will do less than Lightyear? Because I have a feeling it's going to do nothing in the box office. 35 million, that might be generous. Yeah, you can see where Box Office Pro has it. This is just this past weekend. Elemental between $31 and $41 million. It says it's only going to make about $167 million, topping out at $167 million domestically. I mean, if it fits somewhere between half of this and it doesn't do bonko numbers overseas, I mean, you're probably looking at an absolute bust. So anyway, you guys, what do y'all think about Elemental? I think this film is just going to be a dumpster fire for Disney. Another failure for Disney after completely tanking with so many films lately. Again, Lightyear last year, Strange World, we also got to talk about that one. You know, Disney just doesn't seem to have its handle on animated films anymore, and Illumination is just stepping in and just kicking ass. But you guys go ahead, jump down in the comments, give me your thoughts and opinions on that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.